what would you put in a time capsule today for the gardeners of tomorrow?
Packet of Monster Munch. Packet of Monster Munch, a bag of Jelly Babies. I don't know, actually. What would you put in the gardens for today, for tomorrow? Well, it wouldn't be a plant because it wouldn't survive in a time capsule, basically. And all gardens, to a certain extent, are time capsules. Because, you know, a tree that you plant today is a time capsule for tomorrow, because you're not going to be able to see the full joy of that tree for another 100 years. Basically, so every seed that you plant and every cutting that you take is a time capsule for tomorrow, because you're not going to be able to appreciate the full effects of it for quite a long time. And so you're actually doing something for a future generation. Every tree that I have planted over the last 30 or something years has not really been for me to appreciate. Any tree that I plant now for the next however long I manage to go on for is definitely not going to be for me to appreciate. I drove past the other day, actually, interestingly, the first wood that I planted, and I planted that in 1991, and it looks like a wood. It's a proper wood, you know, it's trees under which you can walk and be shaded. They are strong enough to sling a hammock from, and all that sort of thing. And I planted them with my own hands as little tiny sticks that time ago. So I think that the idea of a time capsule for the gardens of tomorrow is anything at all that you plant today.
I would put in a copy of Monty Don's book, The Complete Gardener. I like looking at old garden books, so I think people in the future might like to look at that too. A pair of Falco number 7s, they're the tools of my trade, and who knows, in the future people might be using robotics to prune, so I think people might like to see that. And also photographs of the people and the gardens that I've worked in. A lot of old photographs of gardens show the landscape or the family that commissioned it, but I think people that work in it are quite important too, and people might like to see how we were. I mean, people are the best thing about the garden that we work in.
I always think about that sort of thing as well with garden projects. You know, we should have sunk something into there, a capsule of some description. But what to put in it, that's the question, isn't it? I think for me, you'd be trying to capture something from now. I think, you know, that what we're experiencing of a place now is different to what somebody experienced 200 years ago. And again, in a couple of 100 years' time, if I jump forward and try and think back to now, I'd kind of want to know what it felt like to be around at this moment. So I think I'll be trying to capture things from people, maybe printing out, you know, people's blog articles and popular writing of the moment, people that really describe how it is to sort of live and work in these gardens as well. I think we've sort of, on the whole, there's a lot of garden writing out there, but I think we've been through the golden age in a way, and I think when you come across somebody now that really captures the essence of a garden through the written word, I think that's good to, if you can get that down and pop that into a capsule now to really describe what it's like to be in some of these places, with the current pressures that we've all got and the current challenges. That would really tell a story, I think, in a few years' time, plus a few pictures as well, maybe. But yeah, I'd try and get some written word into that capsule in some way.
A really good question. And can I ask, am I allowed a really, really, really big, huge, ginormous time capsule? I don't want to be limited in size. Some of the things I want to put in are just a little bit on the big side. So shall we start off? I would put in, can I have a few things? I want to put in things that remind us of these strange days that we're in at the moment. So I think I'd like to put a face mask in. Maybe a nice floral face mask, or maybe one with dinosaurs on it. But I'd pop in a face mask to remind people what it was like in 2020. I'd put in a bit of the internet, because I'd put in the virtual Chelsea, because for the first time this year, we weren't able to have Chelsea Flower Show. We did a virtual Chelsea. So I'd like to scoop out that bit of the internet, and I'd like to put that in the time capsule. Then I thought, I have to put in my favourite gardening tool. Now, I don't know if you've got a favourite gardening tool, but I have one, and it's called a hori hori. And it's a hori hori it's the thing over the last 3 or 4 years as gardening tools. And it looks like a little sword. It's a sort of sword that a hobbit would have. And it's got a wooden handle, and it's got a blade that's about 6 inches long. And it's a planting trowel, and it's got a sharp side to it. So if I'm in the garden and I'm weeding and I can't get that root out, I can actually just use the side of the hori hori, and I can slice through it. I can use it to plant bulbs. I use it for weeding. I use it to take weeds out of paving. It's the best gardening tool in the world. And it's called hori hori because it's supposed to be the sort of noise that it makes when it goes into the ground. It sort of goes hori hori as you're digging with it. And then, is there a little bit of room just to fit something else in? And we touched earlier on, I'm worried. And I'm worried about our horticultural heritage. And I'm worried that because they're shedding gardeners left, right and centre, that some of our real prize heritage gardens might be at risk. And so what I'd quite like to do is to put a lot of the big heritage gardens that the National Trust have, I'd like to fit those in the capsule so that just in case we lose some, we could dig the capsule up later and they'd be there safe and sound with their heritage intact.